Oh no, I'm in the corner. How did this happen? Who did this to me? It's a twist. I did it to myself. This is a disaster. There we go. Now you can see all my amazing Amazon boxes. Crystal clear. What's up everyone? We're gonna do a portfolio review. This is our regular regular bat channel, but I've been streaming all day. I streamed where we wrote a quick thing for yeah, thank you. Uh, we wrote a quick thing for Murder She Wrote noir, cyber noir for our future thing that is gonna crack me up. I don't know if it's gonna crack anyone else up. Um, and then I inked for like an hour on one of the pages that I had. So if you want to see that, you can definitely do that. They're in the VODs, and they're going to be up on YouTube too. We're going to be slowly trickling them out so that we have a little bit of space with everything. I'm trying to make YouTube consistent, and so when I can stream, I want to stream a whole lot, so that way there's a lot of stuff up there. But anyway, that's not the point. That's not the point. Thank you, Blue Taurus. That's not the point. The point is today, right now, we're gonna do a portfolio review. First off, portfolio reviews are awesome. The person who puts them forward is gutsy as hell. To put yourself out there like that, and especially publicly, takes a lot of commendation. So Mikruella. I'm gonna screw up the name. Like, I'm gonna be like, this person deserves respect. Now I'm gonna screw up the name. That's not on you. That's on me. Mikruella. Oh man, I'm so in the weeds. She's in the chat right now. Thank you very much for doing this. She deserves all our respect. Mika's fine. All right, thank you. Oh God, you really helped me out. I'm sipping on some coffee too. Thank you for the follow, Alyssa DC. Yeah, we're gonna do a portfolio review. Let's cut over. That's the drawing table. That's not where we want to be. There we are. There we go. And I'm back to the wrong size. There we go. All right, we figured it out. I got there eventually. So here is her Twitter. If you want to follow her, her Twitter information is also in the lower right corner of your screen. I don't know if she is taking on work, but we are going to critique the portfolio in an effort to kind of put her on the path, get her to wherever she's at, to get her to the next level. To try to get that bump, get that. I'm trying to pull you up. Okay. Oh man, so many follows. Thank you. Thank you, Nordids. Alavino. I don't know. Man, I'm so bad at this. Echo the Void. Thank you for the follow. If you guys want a portfolio review, by the way, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel. My Discord is down below. And if you want a portfolio review, you link your subscribed Twitch account to my Discord, and then a room will pop open that is for subscribers only. That is portfolios for review. Dump the portfolio in there. We actually have this portfolio. Mika gave us like a month ago, and I've just been busy with Comic Cons and stuff. And Joel Bartlett actually just gave us a portfolio as well. So we have two in the can. We're gonna get this one done today. But yeah, if you would like to hire her for projects, I assume all her contact information is all good. Here is the link that she gave me. It's an ArtStation link. So I'm not the biggest fan of ArtStation in general. I think that like having like all the images like right next to each other like this, it's a little annoying. I know it's fine for like temporary stuff, but like, you know, in the future, if you're looking to like you know, really shop out. I mean, this is minor stuff, but yeah, let's jump into let's jump into this. This is her Insta or her Twitter, and then she's got links for all kinds of stuff. Oh, she's on YouTube. Is this gonna work? She's on YouTube. Look at that. We're on YouTube. We're YouTube what is that? Inceptioning right now. Cool. YouTube, Twitter. We're just gonna click some links, see if stuff works. Your site is some stuff that aren't for review, huh? Wow, Real Blob Van Dam. You would definitely hire this person that you do not know. Instagram's been doing this for me all day. That's weird, but whatever. Instagram works. If Instagram is not working, but the Instagram link works. So I just wanted to, you know, check that. I don't have a Facebook. And then the website. Interested in contract and freelance. Skills coloring. Okay, cool. All right. Let's jump into some of this. So these are all multiple images per thing. Covers and pinups we're gonna get to. As always, there's an outage on Insta, WhatsApp, and Facebook. Insta's just broken today. So we have Shrek, X-Men, Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed, Constantine, Army of Darkness, Pokemon, which I'm not super familiar with Pokemon in general, and then covers and pinups. I do like the fact that you put all the covers and pinups in one place, because putting them aside is a good thing to do, because like ultimately what you want in your portfolio is a solid like 10 pages of sequential art. Let's just do a quick page count. 1, 2, 3 Shrek pages, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, 9. Whoa. 10. And that 9th page. Whoo, baby. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, so my first suggestion is, when you put together a portfolio, I would cut this portfolio in like half. I would put it down to 10 pages. The second thing is that I noticed that just jumped out at me at like looking at all of these pages is that you've got a different kind of like range of styles, which is awesome. That jumped out at me. It shows you can do more than one thing. Perfect. But I don't know if, like, as cool as these Pokemon pages are, I don't know if I would include them. Just, this is the reason. I don't really have any love for Pokemon. But I do think Pokemon is cute and a cool thing. The thing about these pages are, because of the format, I get that they're like, these are clearly formatted for the phone, correct? Like you get this one and you swipe to this next one, you swipe to these two, you swipe to these two, you swipe to these two. Because of the format that it's laid out in, I don't know that these are necessarily that was webcomics you were hired for. Yeah, I can see that. Like, because of the format that it's in, I wouldn't put it in a portfolio. I might take like a handful of the best ones. Like, I would take, out of all of this stuff, take the ones that you're most proud of, like, and pick 6 and put it with the pinups. Just because, like, it's kind of weird, and like, you don't want to. Okay, here's the thing. When you give pages to an editor, or you give pages to an artist, you don't want to like be like, you figure this out kind of thing. Does that make sense? Like, you want to make it as easy for them as possible. It's fantastic that you were hired for this, but I would just straight up cut it ish. At least cut it down. We're gonna talk about the Pokemon stuff eventually, but let's start with the Shrek pages. I think just by that quick glance that we did in the beginning, I think the Shrek pages and maybe the Constantine or Assassin's Creed are probably like the strongest stuff. I think your Shrek pages by far are your strongest. And the reason for that is they're super vibrant, and like you're sticking to the model and everything. They just work, they do exactly what they need to do. If I was making some sort of children's book or something like that along those lines, you'd be a fine hire. There's a lot of stuff in here. We're gonna get into some of the stuff that's like a little bit that's one of your latest. I could tell it's stronger than the other stuff. So we're gonna get into a couple things. You have a slight change from the green skin tone here, which is fantastic. Shows that you're thinking about like, making this a little bluer, making this a little more yellow. Some of the things that jump out at me are like this looks weird. This like I don't know, moon through the trees like doesn't really work. Some of the lighting that you've put down on here doesn't really read well. We're gonna get into that because we're gonna talk about rendering, because this is one of the things that I noticed. I think this is your weakest point, is the rendering. So we're gonna talk about that. Let's do quick assessments for all of these pages, and then we'll start copying and pasting them into Photoshop and do paint overs and stuff. So this is a chess scene between Professor X and this idiot. My impression of this is that it's very, very dark for a sunny scene. I get what you're trying to do because you're trying to make it yellow, but I think that you're straight up putting too much ink down on the page. You're running the risk of like outside it's yellow and like these the home is like beigey, and then inside the home is beigey, and it kind of looks like they're sitting outside, kind of. But like this panel, you did like a bluish thing that looked really good and like created a good like separation between the outside and the inside. But then it doesn't really continue. You're getting a little weird with stuff in here. Like this diamond shape is a little odd. You'd probably be better off just like straight up painting this stuff. If you wanted to do like a weird shape, like ping of the eye kind of thing. And then the other thing is that like, so Scott gets up and I knew who Cyclops was the whole time. That's the trick. He gets up and he goes out the door here, and the hallway, like it looks like you kind of ran out of, I don't know, time or patience for this stuff, because the hallway doesn't really have a whole lot of detail in it, and he like leaves and the hallway is kind of the same as the room inside of it. This was something that I struggled with a lot. I just did a 10-page Star Wars thing. Oh my god, it's like you're on the ship and it's just gray box after gray box after gray box, but you have to find some way to slightly differentiate, especially in similar looking environments, one scene to the next. Just like a nudge would help. Let's look at this Spider-Man. I dig it. I don't know who did the line art. I would step away from doing this kind of stuff. I can tell this is like a you have an issue with that, yeah. This like star stuff, it's like it just doesn't look good. It just like I can see you doing it here as well. Like, it just doesn't. This is like too much. You know what I mean? I know where your head's at, and you have the correct instincts, but it's just too much. Yeah, the glowing eyes on Spider-Man. It's a little much. We're gonna talk rendering. I also think that you are sometimes you're working a thing to the point where you get a little bit in the weeds and you put a lot of ink down and Photoshop starts leaning purple. We talked about this a little bit in the Discord a couple of days ago about Photoshop leaning purple. Like, this background feels to me like you tried a lot of different washes and then you ended up here and you were like, well, A plus B equals C, so we're going to stick with this. When you could have done something a little more interesting. And we're going to get into these Spider-Man pages in a little bit of depth. Assassin's Creed stuff. Not super familiar with the brand, but familiar enough to know that they are assassins and they have a creed, I guess. The armor has glowing eyes. Oh, okay. If it's canon, it's canon. You got a lot going on with this background. You could simplify this. We're going to talk about it. So if you simplify, kind of like, you have yellow to purple and like a bunch of range in between, and when you do that, when you put like that much color down on a just the background, then you start having a problem of like, okay, now when you do the clouds and you do painterly stuff, and now when you do the buildings and you do painterly stuff, and when you do the floor and you do painterly stuff, it's going to start to like pull from all of the colors that are in the sky, and then when it does that, it's going to start flattening itself out. You would be better off with just the bright yellow kind of thing, especially because like we start reading this from here in the corner, and we read left to right, up to down, and here the nothing's yellow, and then we're back in kind of like a yellow area again, and then we're back to yellow to purple, and it just, for the reader, it's a little confusing, and then we're purple and then we're yellow. It's just like you're alternating a little too much. That dude's having a bad day. I like the blur. I usually don't like blur, but it's a good instinct. You were thinking about like the moment. Yeah, real bad day. Oh, his tongue, that's gross. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm looking at pages is I will look at the whites of people's eyes and their teeth, and like you have kind of like a white here that's like almost pure white, and then you have a white here that's like blue, but you're also like washing this with like a yellow, so. And then this one's like purple. So it feels a little bit like your palette is a little all over the place. And I get what you're doing, like a complex palette. What I'm saying is like you're trying this very complicated thing. And I think that if you scaled back your thought process just a little bit, you might have a stronger finish for this work. I'm not saying don't experiment. I'm saying experiment all dang day, but like maybe change up like what you put in your portfolio. Some stuff's for experimentation, some stuff is not. Fake McCoy, your streak, 15 months, my dude. We've got to upgrade you from solid gold to platinum. Thank you for the subscription. Here we have some Constantine stuff. You did a much flatter style, which is really neat. I love how you did the red smart car, and then you can tell that it's the red smart car. It's like you did that car, that specific car, and then that car is that specific car on the next page. Even though you have the red buses here, it's still the thing that's like popping out. Pitch perfect. Same thing here. Like, the car is the most important thing in this car chase. This car. Yeah, I like these pages a lot. We're going to talk about them more in depth because there's a couple of things that I think we could figure out how to punch it up a little bit. One thing is like, if you're going to have a moment like this, so you were doing this like desaturated thing, but then you were doing like a red radial grad set to screen. Each sequentially tried a different style. Yeah. I think it's good. You should definitely experiment, and you should definitely be like, hey, I can do a lot of different things. One thing that I noticed is like, so one of your weaknesses is rendering, and then you did a more flat style here, and it worked a little better because you weren't like, showcasing a weakness. You were like hiding it, which is cool. It's what you should do. But you have like a very desaturated kind of thing going on, desaturated, and it gets like a little bit brighter, and it's like same here. It's like, but it's still mostly desaturated. But you get to this page and you have this magic effect, and you try to like, amp it up, like the dashboard's purple, and I get that. But like, this is almost too bright to make this really work very well. This almost needs to be like amped up higher. And then this weird stuff happens, and then weird stuff, it's Constantine, so ... and then weird stuff happens. This page is cool. I like this page a lot. The only thing that, so here's the thing. This is the same thing, same critique with the Assassin's Creed page. Dude getting the arrow through the back of the head. Same kind of like payoff thing with the pages, but like, this isn't really a sequential page, and neither is the one where he gets the arrow through the head. Like, this doesn't necessarily, it looks cool, but I think it might look cool for the drawing more than for the coloring. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if this is a proper showcase of your work. I think that if you didn't do this page and instead you punched this up, and kind of like nailed down, like the glows look a little weird, like just kind of like nailed down the rest of this, if you put your time into that, it would have been a bigger payoff for you. Would have been a better showcase of your work. And then Army of Darkness. This is Larry Watts. This is my buddy. He did these pages. Were you the colorist on this when it went to print? I don't know what it looked like when it went to print. This is cool. I like this a lot. You wish. Okay. I thought I'd ask. Because I don't know if I ever saw this in print. So, you're making some choices, and you're running into the same problem that I had with Star Wars, which is gray room. I just don't like this. Like, this stuff that you have going on, these like special effects, like, it looks pretty good here, but I think that's because it's a little bit subtle and there's a bright light here. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But like here, not working for you. Like this, I understand that you're trying to do like lens flares, and the since there's no clear light source and you just threw a flare across, it doesn't, and the flare isn't bright, like it's this kind of like peachy color. it just looks like there's peach circles on like a flat floor rather than like, you know, an actual lens flare. That's why this one like kind of works, but even this one looks a little bit weird. Like you'd be better off with just like the radial grad and no flare. Like, okay, I've talked myself into, you just need to stop doing lens flares. Like, I don't think that they look good. I appreciate what you're doing. I don't think it's putting your best foot forward, because you're like putting together like decent palettes, but like, yeah, the lens flares are not. You got to stop doing that immediately. All right. I like this blur. It's neat. The blur stuff, you've this is like the third or fourth thing that's been blurry on these pages. You did a blur here, you did a blur here. Third thing on these pages. So I would maybe chill the blur as well. I feel like you're doing, okay, here's the thing. I feel like you're doing a lot of special effects. Don't let the new Star Trek movies hear you. I feel like you're doing a lot of special effects with the blur and the lens flare, and I don't think you need to. Like, when you blur like stuff like this, you have the blur happening back here and over here on like both sides of the hand, and he's pulling back, which means it should only be on one side of the hand. So by making this like whole thing blurry, it's not working for you. Like it doesn't make it as strong of a storytelling moment as it could be. And you might be fine just letting the art speak for itself and just doing good color. You know, at the end of the day, like, you're in service of the art, and like it may be correct to throw down some blur every once in a while, but if you're doing it 3 times in 3 pages, you're probably doing it too much. Just for reference, I've done something like 15 issues of Nightwing so far, maybe more. I've used the blur, and that's 20 pages times 15, which is like more than 8 pages. It's a lot of pages. I don't know how many pages it is. What's that, like 240 page? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, a lot of pages. I've used a blur on a superhero book, on a bombastic superhero book. I've used a blur maybe 3 times total in the entire run. So just like, think about it. Just there is a time and a place. You don't have to use it all the time. Okay. Let's dig in. Let's put aside the overview, and let's like really dig in. 300 pages. There we go. I was promised no math. All right. This is maybe your strongest page, so let's talk about it. So, I like everything that's going on here. I think you're working in RGB, which I don't have a ton of experience with, but I will say that so you're doing a radial grad over here, and it's picking up the trees as gray when it would be stronger if it was picking up the trees as blue. So if you start, like, if I pick this color, this is what we're getting for CMYK. If I turn this down to 0, we're getting a gray. This would be stronger. Here's 60, 60, 40. If we turn the K down to 0, we get this like purple gray. When you pull a grad over here, so you did like a light blue on this blue, the trees are turning to gray. If you pick a color that is actually like, we'll say 80, 40, 40, this like bluish color. So this is a more saturated blue. if you pick this and then 100 as your black, and then you put that grad of blue on top of it, it's gonna read a lot better. The other thing that you can do is just straight up, like, you put this grad in, the trees look weird. We're gonna try to fix this right now on the fly. Oh my god, we've selected all the things. All right, we're gonna figure this out. I'm a modern gentleman. I can figure it out. All right. We're fast and loose, quick and dirty with this. But you could even just take like a straight up blue and just like put it on top like this. Man. And it'll look a little better, look a little stronger than this. But this is like a minor thing, but I see it. The reason that I want to bring it up is because I see it chronically in your work. Like in these Spider-Man pages, you have like this green, but this shine is like this pure white, and it's like white on top of green, and it just looks like weirdly desaturated. Like if we get in here, it's like this desaturated, like, I don't know. It like you have like a potential to make something like good and weird here, and it's kind of lost. Here's just straight up green. We're just gonna do normal 20% radial grad. Just like green it up a little and then screen it. Like we're injecting just like a little bit more I mean, like, this is very ham-fisted, but we're injecting a little more color over that, it just like emotionally resonates a little bit better. And I noticed, like you're doing this is the problem. Like what I was saying before with this, like you want like a blue color underneath the black for when you drag that grad. You might be dragging like white gradients, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, but this is like reddish. You might not be. But yeah, you're ending up with like, every time you are putting glows over the blacks, you're ending up with like, instead of like a color that leans into the color of the glow, you're getting like, if you put like a red glow, like you're using like yellows here, right? So you're using yellows on these windows. Looks like an orange here, and like you're using a green here, but like you're getting like gray in here. Like this doesn't work with the color that's down. I think that if you had just like a little bit more control, like this isn't really, like, it just doesn't resonate the way that like you can get it to resonate. And if you insist on putting glows over everything, like I do, I do this as well, then you need to be conscious of like what's happening to your black, and you need to make it work. If you go back and like look at a lot of the videos that I've done, usually at the end I'll put glows in, and I will do this kind of stuff where I'm like, okay, we gotta adjust the black layer, and then we gotta like put the glow in and make it work. All right, let's talk about rendering. So a lot of this is rendered the same. You have a, like, on the bot, like you're doing the thing that a lot of colorists do when they kind of start out, which is they're like, rendering a full form is kind of difficult, but like tracing an image isn't as difficult, and it kind of looks like it works. Like you traced back here, and it's like, oh, it kind of looks like donkey has a curvy butt. I'm gonna put the Cintiq in my lap because we are going to start to render things. I'm sorry if it bumps the mic. So, what exactly am I talking about? Like, let's just real quick do this on a new layer. So, if we have a cylinder, you know, like we're just gonna do 2 cylinders real quick, like this and this. And we have a light source that's coming from this side, like this. The way that you are rendering the cylinders is that you're thinking, okay, dark over here. Let's hold on. Okay, you're like, okay, dark over here, light over here, done. You know, like that's what's going on right here with the donkey. We can zoom in a little bit. Like that's what's going on here. You're like light over here, secondary light source over here, done. But what you should be thinking about instead of like this, you should be thinking like, okay, like black here, bounce light here, light source here, but then like another light source. Like you want to think about core shadows and bounce light, and like you want to like really render the form kind of thing. Like you want to think about the entirety of the form. For example, donkey's butt. You have like the like this doesn't look too bad, but if you're lighting him, say you're lighting him top down, like that's kind of what's going on here. His back, he's a cylinder. He is for all intents and purposes, like he is a cylinder like this, you know. You're gonna get like all of this up in here. Like when you go in and render these cheeks, like you wanna like really do it. You wanna be like, you know, get his whole back, you know. And then if you're rendering from the top, like, you know, he's got a head, but he also, like, his giant dumb head is going to cast a shadow. So you want to, like, you know, do one of these. He's got a shoulder blade here, probably, in his anatomy. So you want to kind of do one of these. The body kind of like comes up like this, you know, like you want to think about it more in 3-dimensional space. And then if these guys are the light source for the secondary light source, you can like, you know, pop it in here, and maybe he's even got like another like muscle group here, pop it in there, pop in here, pop it on his teeth, and then you want to like pop it right here. Like he is right next to that guy. You probably wouldn't get like a lot of secondary light source over here. You might get it here. Something like that. You want to think of like donkey's whole mouth like here. Under the eyes, and then his lightest parts should be like this whole cheek, this whole snout, this whole thing right here. And then you, by doing that, you like slowly start to and this is something that like just think about, you know, and try it out. I'm not saying like what you're doing is wrong. I'm saying that you're at a point where this is kind of where people start, and you'll get better and better at it. Like Shrek's sleeve here looks really good. Like I can tell that you're thinking about this. Like I would have probably done it like more so with the shape, but I can tell you're thinking about it. But it needs to echo through the whole piece, you know. Another way to think about this is like, say you're working on a like a sphere. One of the things that I like to do is you just need more consistency. Yeah. Like I can tell that you're thinking about it and you're trying it, but you're not quite there. And like, I think this is where your next level up is. The reason I'm spending so much time on this is because I think this is your strong or your worst weakness and your next level up. A lot of times when I'm like, okay, we're gonna render. Well, hold on. We're gonna render this sphere. And I'm like, okay, we're going to render it from the top. I'm going to put a shadow in. Like, I'll start here, but then I'll go, okay, we're going to throw a grad from the bottom. Right? Give it a little more depth immediately. And then I'm going to be like, okay, it's picking up the light, but it's like maybe only like that. And kind of throw a grad like that. Like, this has like depth and form to it. Maybe not perfect, obviously, but you know, it's I'm using the whole volume of the thing rather than just the edges on the outline. Oh no, you're good. Don't worry about it. You don't have to commentate. A lot of the portfolio reviews I do are very slow chat because people are like trying to like take it in. Okay. We are not going to save this. Let's go back to this. But like I said, your palette's pretty good. Like, I would stay away from using texture in general. Like, it's not too bad on these pages, but and I like this background. This palette's like nice. Oh man, did another lens flare there. We gotta cut that mess out. So okay. So again, here is another situation where like the black is heading into this desaturated brown, and if you were able to make it more saturated, it would go a long way. Like this looks a little bit better. You know, I didn't do a whole lot. This is just a radial screen grad. Like, I'm just taking like when you start to colorize the black, it's like killing your stuff because you're in this whole situation of like, I'm gonna make saturated things, and then like when you color into the black, it desats. So I missed whatever just happened. I think somebody just followed. Thank you for the follow. Also, if this is, I don't know if this guy's like a ghost or whatever, but you can definitely knock out this line art. Ghosts, definitely. And like you can like really lean into it. Something like that, you know? The other thing is like, I don't know what we're working with JPEGs here. I don't know what your ink levels are at. 85, 50, 38, 17. You're having classes with a colorist and he encourages textures and lens flares and blurs everywhere, so you're having your eyes open. Oh man, I would not encourage that. Especially when you're starting. Cause like, okay, here's my 2 cents on lens flares, blurs, and textures and stuff like that. If you're using a texture, and like people use textures to like photo bash, to make like quick art, like this Assassin's Creed page is a perfect demonstration of what I mean. So you have this texture in here, and the texture is the same texture here as it is here, and it would not be in real life. Like you took a piece of texture and you laid it on top, and like you laid it on top here, you laid it on top here, you laid it on top here. It's over like most of this, And no one's fighting yet. Like, you have texture on most of this, and it's creating a situation where, like, the texture is so powerful that it's flattening things out. Like, this is already like the perspective's already like kind of wonky because we're out of the cone of vision. Oh my god, no weapons, please, chat, chill. So what I mean by that is that we're using 1 point perspective, but we are like this is out of the cone of vision, meaning it's starting to fall apart. Like, the perspective's starting to fall apart because, like, when we use our vision, like, this is probably safe and normal, and like everything outside of this is starting to look weird. Oh my god, chat is unruly. So you're already battling like slightly amateur line art, and then so this perspective's already wonky, and then you're flattening it out with like this just a big swath of texture. When you have something like this, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I totally bumped the mic. I'm sorry. You totally don't know any of these people. Sure. Here's the thing. What it looks like is, say you have like a wood grain, texture or whatever. This is my faux wood grain that I've created right now. You have this texture, right? And you want to put this down on the page like somebody's on a deck or whatever. And if you just take this texture and put it down on the page, it's going to look like a flat piece of board that's coming right at you. Even if you take this wood grain texture and you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to make it flat. I'm going to distort it and put it back into space, and like, look at that. I got wood grain texture like going back into space. Even if you do this, like, there is too much detail back here. Like, the way that we perceive texture over distance, especially like a lot of distance, is like minimal texture here and maximum texture close. So if you're putting down texture for something, especially with a lot of distance, it needs to read as a lot of texture up front and a little bit of texture in the back. And if it doesn't read like that, it's gonna just make everything flat. So I'm not saying that you can't use texture. I'm saying that using texture is more difficult than just like taking it and dropping it in, unless you're just like trying to give the paper a little bit of tooth kind of thing. But like trying to do something like this, like you're trying to put wood on a deck, and the artist just decided, because the artist is like, super lazy, as all artists are, the line artist, they just went, okay, here's the deck. I didn't put any texture in. Here's the wooden deck. Like, you're on your own, because artists are super lazy. Then like, just dropping in like a piece of wood isn't going to work, because you're going to have this like high detail here and the high detail here. It's going to like flatten it out. I'm not saying you should never use texture, but every single like, I look at this page and I'm like, oh, the texture flattened it. That's the first thing I thought. The first thing, the texture flattened it because of this. If you want to use texture, you are better off painting in the texture your own with like custom brushes or whatever. But even that is like I started my career not doing any texture work at all, just like letting the color speak for itself, because painting in texture is really difficult. Like, I'm not bullshitting you. the reason that people drop it in and try to get away with it because it's easier than painting it in. But I feel like if you don't paint it in, it's not worth doing. I don't know. So I wouldn't do that kind of stuff. The other thing is that like, so if you have you used brushes, oh my god, yeah, it's just tough. Like, it's what I'm saying is this is currently not working in your favor. The other thing is like, so you have a lot of distance here. You can get a little perspective. What is it? Atmospheric perspective going. Especially with this stuff in the back, like, we can really create like a lot of depth, by just taking this and being like, all right, push that back. All right, push this these clouds in the back a little bit. You pushed these clouds way back, but you didn't push the buildings back. I don't think far enough. By doing that, just this little bit like helped a lot. And you can do the same with her and the dude. You have an opportunity here of like, you know, sun. I see where your head's at, and it's in a good spot where like you have sun coming in like this, and so you're lighting her from this side. You have an opportunity to like really lean into this kind of thing, making her like the highest highs and the lowest lows, which you're doing already, but like you can really make her stand apart from this dude down here. If you darkened it up, so now we have, and this is not where I would leave it, but we basically have the atmospheric perspective pushing the buildings way back, and then her being dark makes her move way forward, and then we have a middle ground here, and then you can add like a lot of drama to this scene by then like cresting the sun over the thing here, and then really, I know you were like, you did the same thing here where you were tracing the line art, but you can like really like make this feel hot, you know? Something like that. Can really amp up the drama. And like I said, now we have this great big, I know we're still doing the blue to, or the yellow to purple, but you know, like this, since she's darker now, and then this is really dark, we just want to lighten this whole thing, lighten that whole thing. And then we have this, like, you have the same thing going on, like dark in the front, light in the side. Here's one of the things that is like difficult when artists decide that they're going to get cute with like overlapping panels and this kind of stuff is now we have a problem where it's like, oh, we have darkness here, like where does the panel end? Where does it begin? Is this part of the panel? I don't know. Like, doing projects where panels overlap is really, really difficult. I would avoid pages like that if you could. Yeah, I mean, I stick to what I said before too about like you need a strong sense of space with these, and so I would stay yellow, and I would cut some of the brush stuff. Some of the texture work's not bad. Like, this doesn't look too bad. Like, I get that the artist kind of trailed off and you're doing a thing, and like this doesn't look too bad. Like, I like that. It's just when you have a lot of space in the thing, it'll flatten it out. Also, man, the artist, ooh, she's shooting right to left here, and now she's shooting left to right. It's like, dude, flip the panel. My dude. Make her shoot left to right the whole time. I don't know. You're getting really, really dark I don't know if your monitor is calibrated for print. Let's see how dark this is. This is too dark. So we are 70, 70, 40, 33. This is like we're like close to black at that point. It's just getting a little dark. And then things are starting to fall apart color scheme wise. You have a lot of stuff going on. Like he has a red sash that you set up here, and then he doesn't have the red sash here. And then we got green guy and purple guy. And like, is this green guy? This is so dark. I just realized that this wasn't spot black. This is too dark. This is way too dark. It's not gonna read right. And we got purple guy and green guy. So here's the thing. I don't think that purple guy and green guy necessarily need to be purple guy and green guy. I think they can just be off-white and slightly gray guy, and you can have a more cohesive color scheme of like yellow, gray, brown, red, you know, that classic Assassin's Creed kind of thing going on. And then also, the more color that you put into other characters, the more importance you're giving those characters in the story. And you want her to be the most important thing on the page. So it's just food for thought. Yeah, I would, I wonder, so, can we just like fix it? I'm gonna try to fix the darkness on it too. We'll see. I don't know if this is working. This is not working. We're in the weeds. We're a little bit in the weeds. This is kind of working. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, you want to make... Man, this artist is whipping that camera around. We're at the he's laying at our feet. Now we're at his feet, just whipping that camera around. No offense if the artist is in the room. Just, you know, chill with the camera. I like this. The blur was real right then. Yeah, I think this is the weakest page of the 4 pages. You know what? I wonder if, like, when you were working on this, if you were problem solving all of this stuff, and then you were problem solving all of this stuff, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panels, overlapping panels, like this weird line at the bottom, like, and trying to figure all that out, and then trying to make this moment read well. I wonder if you just straight up got to this point and you were just like, yo, I'm tired. Like, I could see that being a thing. Also, you want to look for places like this, special effects, turn the line art into like an orange or something. Like, make it so that it doesn't look like there is an actual white piece of something, but like a motion or a action burst or whatever. You knocked out the line art on this, could have knocked it out here too. Totally. Oh my god, you couldn't stand those pages anymore. Yeah, you see how I can tell? I can tell. Yeah, because like you're also so. Here, there's another thing that's going on with these pages. You're doing a lot of like dark gray on dark gray on dark gray. Like when we put it into like actual values, you're a little bit all over the place. Well, you're not all over the place. Like here, you're getting good values. Here, the panel isn't reading well. And I think what's going on is that you're like, well, I've made the ground this color and I need to stick with it. But you didn't count on all of the figures being in front of the ground, which you're forgiven for not thinking that that was going to happen, because that like rarely happens. It kind of looks like all the figures are laying down, by the way. What's happening, man? I don't. Are we here to just dunk on artists? Because I'm about to. I'm about to go off. But like you have these figures, and I think like this panel would just straight up read better if you just like simple. Just lighten up the ground. And I know that you are I know that you're thinking about it like the ground has to be this color, but in order to make that panel work, it cannot be that color that you set up. Like it cannot be. It just can't. The way the artist drew this, it's like you're staring at the ground. Like you are staring at the ground. But then all the people, you can see their whole bodies. This person should be instead of like this, should be like his head should be like here. Not screen. His head should be here. It should be like torso, feet, arm, like this. Like instead it looks like he's leaning it looks like we're just here dunking on artists. It looks like if you saw this scene from the side, it looks like this is the ground, right? And then this guy's leaning like this and pointing, and then there's another guy that's leaning here, and then there's another guy that's leaning even further back. It looks like this is the scene. I'm sorry. I'm not, it's just, we need to fix these things. And because of that, you ended up with a background that's the ground. But whatever. People learn. Let's talk about the Spider-Man pages. They're good, but like I feel like these pages don't have an overall color scheme. You have EDU pinups. We need to get an EDU page. So one of the things that I noticed, and I think you're doing it here mostly. We skipped over the X-Men. We gotta go back to the X-Men. I think you're doing it here mostly. And I think this also might be, oh my god, look at those dudes just lining up to the ground. I think that you're doing it here mostly, and this may be the fact, like we looked at those, you have EDU pin. Oh, EDU is your husband. Okay. I was like, are we talking about like .edu educational pages? So you have these like flares going on. By the way, I can critique line art. I can't execute line art to the best of my ability yet, but like, I did 80K worth of art school. I can critique some line art. So you have like these flares, but I think this is a symptom of your monitor is too bright, because like these colors on the inside of these lights, like you have like 40% ink down at the center of this light. The light is the brightest thing on the page. These they're so bright that you've flared them out, and you're still using at 40% ink. Like this highlight, you've said, okay, this light, brightest thing on the page, but also the edge of this tray brighter than that light. It just like doesn't really work. You also have like, and I think this is why you're putting these light sources all over the place. You are having problem with like foreground, middle ground, background. You can take these buildings and we can just whisper them off into the night. Like we can go, we're gonna deselect these people. in a very rough way. Forgive us, people. Oh my god, they brought umbrellas on their chairs. This is a disaster. On their tables. This is awful. Who planned this party? You've only ever paid attention to K, not the other colors. I mean, no. It'll print fine. It'll print fine. Like 40% color will print fine. What I'm saying is like, if the light of the buildings is flaring, then that is the brightest thing on the page, not the corner of the cube of trays, unless the cube of trays is very important. I think that by just pushing these guys back, or we could even push it back with like a red. We don't even have to do red. We could do something else. We can kind of start to get some foreground, middle ground, background action going. Like this. I tried to deselect as much of the black as I could. And we can kind of make the party a little bluer. So like now the party reads as like foreground, middle, like a background, a solid background and a solid foreground, rather than, and I mean, I know that it's we're a little all over the place as far as like the art direction of this thing, but palette wise we're a little bit all over the place. Here, let's I can't just sit here and not make a decent palette. We just did the same thing. We just did that. I'm just murdering this thing. I'm just dragging this into an alley and murdering it. Okay. So like I said, we have more of a, and I could tell that you're thinking about this because you're knocking out the line art for these people and it's different than the buildings. So I would say just like you have that instinct, push it further. Like this visually is a little bit, can't see me. Visually is a little bit stronger than this, you know? Makes sense? Foreground, middle ground, background. Plus then you have this echoing with this. Also, like, here's the thing that Jordi Belair does a lot. So like this person's important to this panel. This person's important to this panel. All these other people, not important. You're spending a lot of time like you know, rendering like the dresses and stuff and like doing this dress over here. Stop. Like, you don't have to. If these people are the most important people, like, spend your time rendering them, and then you can really almost do solid color. As long as your palette is strong, you can almost do solid colors for the other stuff, because we're not going to look there anyway. Plus, we are also in a situation where, like, you know, and you'll learn this the more comics that you get done and the more comics you put into the world, because you will color something, render the hell out of something, get it in print, and then what's going on? Oh, homeboy's saying something and we're just going to put a big word balloon right here. You know, he said 4 things and then she said something here. And it's like, oh, great. All the time you spent here is all for naught, you know? So it's something to consider. When you're doing, so there's a pretty intense like light source here from the buildings. Roll with this. This is something to keep in mind. I just keep knocking that mic. I am sorry. This is something to keep in mind with kind of like drawings like this, where we are hyper detailed in the top and there's fading to the bottom. The artist is almost saying, hey, like, just drop white in here. Like, when a city is lit, it lights from the street up. So you want to just like straight up white in there. Like this stuff, straight up white. This stuff, straight up white. All up in here. All up in here. All of this. All of this. In here. In here on the street. This stuff. Right here. Like, you can really, really get in here and like look at all this stuff that you do not have to color. Like, lean into that. And then when you have like the white light source, you can flare it. Like you were doing with this stuff up here. And these flares look brighter than these flares because they start with a white light source, a white core in the light source. When this is something I picked up from like lightsabers. When Darth Maul shows up and he has a red lightsaber, you don't see the red lightsaber as like, this with like red. Like this doesn't read as a red lightsaber. What reads as a red lightsaber is this with a white core. Like that reads as a red lightsaber. And you want to think about that the way that you think like with all the other flares that you're putting on the page. You want to think about it as like hard white. I would knock out all of this line art. If she's like semi-invisible, I would knock out all that line art, make it colorized. Rendering looks good here. You're thinking about it. You're doing a good job. I'm digging it. So, okay. This page has like this moment where Spider-Man cracks this invisible woman with the gun. You can really this background is like purple gray. You can make this like bright orange. Like go nuts. It's comics and it's awesome. So make it crazy. The other thing that I would do is, and again, this might be because you are your monitor might be a little too bright, is like the gun flare. The gun flares, and you're like, oh, 40%. Like, let's make that white. Let's like chunk that up. This is the brush that I'm using right now is built into all Photoshop versions. This thing has been in Photoshop forever. So like really like give it a little bit of gusto. And then like not only can you flare it like this, but you can also just like bam, like make it like she gets a shot off at Spider-Man. That is not something that happens. It's great. Or maybe she's shooting at the party. I don't know. I can't really tell. But yeah, like lean into it. It's slightly more dynamic than like this looks flat and a little bit boring. Let's see. What else we got? Let's talk about the X-Men page. We skipped over this. One of the things that I want to talk about is, so there's, you want to go one of the things that I try to do, especially if I need to use all the tools in my disposal and I need to I'm trying to think of how to word this. So if I work on a book, usually I'll put like guardrails, parameters as to what I want the book to look like and how I want it to read. But if I don't do that and I'm just like color it anything, like I'm just like out in the weeds, like alternating from warm to cool is such a good way to just make the scene transition work. When you alternate warm colors, cool colors, warm colors, cool colors with every other scene, you are letting every single reader like understand what's going on. And storytelling, it should be like the top priority for you as a colorist. So I'm deselecting the windows, but we're just gonna take this and just cool it down a little, and maybe lighten it up. Yeah, there we go. So like, again, this is a bright sunny day, and the shadows over here, even after I lighten them up 40, 25, 18, you're putting on 100% ink, right? Like right down here. And this isn't even the darkest thing on the page. This is just the corner of the room in a white room. So you want to be aware of that. Also, when you start to do stuff like this, you can put like light streaming in from the windows. Just like make a nice shape, a little of the screen grad. Boom, there you go. Light streaming in from the windows. It makes it's like a cool effect, makes it interesting, makes it, and it's like, these are opportunities to like really show off. And that's what you want to look for in color work as well as a portfolio. And like this kind of thing shows off more to me than having the computer render a lens flare. Like rendering a lens flare doesn't show that you understand like how to do the work kind of thing, and you're thinking about light. It just shows me that you like chucked a thing down because you were like, I think this should be good here. But like this shows that you're thinking about the light. You're thinking about like all this kind of stuff. Man, again, like lens flare, but we don't have like a high. If we kick this over to grayscale, like the highest thing we have is the clouds, and they're not that high. Like you would never get a lens flare off a cloud. I would like, what are these guys? Yeah, 40%. Yeah, I think because I keep seeing these 40% figures, I think your monitor is just too dark. I think you just need to calibrate your monitor. And like, don't be afraid to like, put some blue in there. And then, flare this stuff like this. Like this is a little bit more of a command over the color. Like this color is more engaging than these white kind of like dots. I'm kind of repeating myself at this point. You there? You're still alive. You're doing a lot of cool stuff in here. Like I like all this mark making. That's rad. I can tell you're like everything. Your heart's in the right place. I think these and the Shrek pages are your strongest pages. We're gonna see if we can amp up that middle page. Yep, just working, listening. Okay, good. I didn't know if you were like, oh man, screw this. Everyone was chatty for a minute, and then they were like, oh, I felt like I, said the wrong thing or something. So we can. This is a big moment for these characters. Like, we can really, really like punch up that saturation. Like, punch up these levels. Like, really pop this thing out. And then not only that, but still here, still just listening. not only that, but like you have the same thing again. Core of the lightning needs to be white to read as very, very bright. It's lightning. Like if that's not pure white, I don't know what is. So like I just took it, filled it pure white, and it reads as a lot brighter than this. Like this reads as like a tannish beige kind of thing. You just remembered your deadline and noticed which page you're in? Oh no. You don't talk much, you're listening to. Okay. All right. I'm glad that you guys are there. So like, you know, this is so much brighter than this. And you want to kind of make this jump. Like storytelling wise, you're making the jump from like, we're a car that's speeding down the highway in a very semi-mundane situation to like, the car is filled with lightning. Like shit's going down. So you want to make that jump like apparent. So you can kind of just amp that up. Taking notes. Yeah. I don't know. I'm like, I feel like I'm starting to repeat myself because I feel like the biggest things, your work's good. Like you're on your way. The Shrek pages especially are very, very strong. I would cut the Army of Darkness stuff just because I feel like, I don't know if it's like your I can't tell if it's the coloring or the pages that you chose are just like a little bit boring, but I don't feel like the Army of Darkness. Here's something to keep in mind when you're building a portfolio. You want to show off. You want to be like, look at me, I'm the best. And I don't know that any of these Army of the Darkness pages do that for you. Also, there's like some consistency problems. Like you have him outside of the chamber. He's like in the where the doors open on the ship. I don't even know what that. It's got some kind of a name, but you have it as like this gray blue here, and then it turns into this green. And I think maybe you're trying to amp it up because the bad guy showed up, but it just reads as like it shifts from purple to blue to green, and it reads like you didn't make a strong environment when and you wouldn't want people to think that because you can do that, like you do it here. So like you don't want people to get to these pages and be like, oh, this person's not going to work out well for me. Like I would just straight up cut the Army of Darkness stuff. I would cut the Pokemon stuff down to one sheet of 6 things and just tack it on in the end. I would amp up this page, especially the lightning, core white. I would maybe pull these flares. Like whenever you make a flare that's a shape, all your like it breaks my brain. Like I don't know. I just can't. I don't know. I just think it would be so much stronger as just like a radial flare, just like that. Well, maybe not like that. Maybe this orange. Or, you know, if these are the back lights, I don't even think they'd be white like this. Like they'd be red. You know? Oh God. You know, like this is not a great example, but you know what I mean. And if you are going to do a shape like this, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. If you are going to do a shape like this, build the shape. Like, don't let Photoshop, like, this looks like a Photoshop kind of like brush or effect. And it's the same thing with the lens flares. They look like Photoshop brushes or effects. Like this will work better if you're like, okay, we need to flare this light. If you go in here and you're like, all right, we're gonna make a flare for that light, right? We're gonna go like this with the red, and then like the orange. We're gonna give it like a core, like a white core, right? And then we're gonna feather that 20 pixels. Oh my god, I forgot. We're working on a JPEG. We're gonna feather it 5 pixels, maybe 10. And we're gonna really like flare that, and then we're gonna take this shape that I just made, and we're gonna like crunch it a little. Oh god, we're in the weeds. We've crunched the feather. We're gonna take this shape, we're gonna like crunch it down, and then like kind of control it like to be what we want it to be, you know? Build it however we want to build it. Like this, these are like kind of like hey graffiti, what's up? These are kind of like more, I mean, we're very, very ham-fisted with this, but like it's a more, you put more thought into that. It looks more customized. It looks more interesting than when like, because everybody who's ever used Photoshop knows what the like canned lens flares look like. They know what the canned, you know, whatever looks like. If you build the stuff on your own, you can make it look a lot better. And you can even like lens flare this stuff. Like, here we go. We lens flared the crap out of that thing. Like, but if you choose where you put the flares, you're making smart, conscious decisions. If the computer just renders it and you're just like, okay, here's where it is, done, then like you're not necessarily making the best choices for that thing. Does that make sense? You're letting the computer start to make the choices, and the computer's an idiot. The computer's a tool. Like, you want to do it yourself. Yeah. I don't know that there's really anything else I want to say. So, okay, let's round it out a little bit. First things first, I would pay attention to when you are tired, because like first 3 pages start out strong. Last page, I can tell you're like, I'm freaking done with this. So paying attention to when you're tired is something that is difficult for a lot of people. It's difficult for me. Sometimes you have to work on a thing. I get that. You're working on a thing right now. So I would be careful of posting stuff that you kind of like not fresh with, especially if you're going to post it in the portfolio. Like, you always have time. You can always sit on it for a day or two before putting it in the portfolio if you want to. You can always sit on it for a day or two, come back with fresh eyes, check it out again. I do that all the time with work. Like, I am always looking at stuff with fresh eyes. If I can. If I have time, I will sit on stuff. The Shrek pages are probably your best stuff. It's like, I can tell that you're thinking about making these guys a little more blue and these guys a little more yellow. That stuff's really strong. The X-Men sequentials just need like a little bit of punching up and you'd be good. The Spider-Man, same thing. Just like a little bit of extra work. Assassin's Creed, same thing. It's like everything is like 95% of the way there. I really, in particular, really enjoyed these Constantine. I think the art is really great, and what the choices that you made are really interesting. I would take something like this and render the crap out of it, and to see it flat, like, is kind of cool. Think about your rendering. That's the other thing. So be conscious of if you're tired or not. Think about your rendering. So be sure to get the full volume of the shape. And this is something too that, like, you're just gonna pick up as you do more pages. Like, I just want you thinking about this stuff. You don't have to like beat yourself. You don't have to fix it tomorrow. This is something that as you color pages, as you put in work, as you put in time, you will pick this stuff up. Absolutely. And then white cores on your flares, man. You're like you have this cool lightning here, and it reads as just kind of, I don't know, dull, you know? Same thing, like here, these lights on the buildings and stuff, flare the crap out of them. But man, yeah, you're on the path. Like, you're getting hired for stuff. I don't have to tell you that. Like, your stuff's good. Just needs like a little bit of extra oomph to get there. But yeah, you're on the path. The number one thing I would think of is rendering right now. I feel like that's your next hurdle. And everything else, even if it's not 100%, like, you'll get there just through practice. It's just going to happen. Yeah. I think part of the reason why I like these Shrek pages so much is because I can tell that you are like coloring with an idea of what the end product should look like. You know? Mika, hired. Yes. Absolutely. Very hireable. Like, I can tell that, like, you're like, okay, it's Shrek. I'm going to make it saturated, but at night, and I'm not going to overdo it with the blue. Like, it's just going to work. Like, this blue back here looks fantastic. And then you're like, okay, now it's during the day, and we're doing this like kind of gloomy sky because it's this kind of desperate situation with her on the raft. Like, you're thinking about this in a really, really great way, with like an end goal of like, this is for kids, so it needs to be bright kind of thing. And it's the same with this. Like, when I see these pages, I see like you thinking about the end product and figuring out like how to get there, and executing it well. When I look at like the Army of Darkness pages, it just feels like it's a little all over the place. It's also like you're in the spaceship, right? So it should kind of be like semi-gray through the whole thing. I don't know. And then like, I feel like with the Spider-Man pages and with the Assassin's Creed pages, you're like trying to grip like everything you possibly can and like shove all the things in, and it like, it works in some places and doesn't work in others. And I feel like, I don't know, if you just like stopped for a minute and thought about what you wanted out of these pages and envisioned it, you could achieve that better rather than being like, oh god, the background's now floor, you know, like yeah, nothing does gray and boring in space like Star Wars. I hope this helps you a lot. If you like I said, you're a subscriber, so this portfolio review is for you. I hope that this helps you moving forward. Like you said, the Shrek pages are the newest stuff. Just keep going. You got this. If you have any other pages you want me to check out, or if like I know that you were like, you know, working while this was happening, if you want to ping me in the Discord, feel free. I will happily look at stuff again or clarify any of my statements. If you are struggling with any of this, I'm around. I'm available. If you want a portfolio review of your own out there, like I said, I will critique your pencils as we saw today. You know, feel free to subscribe to Twitch and then drop your portfolio, and I'll pick it up and we'll get to it. You gotta be a little patient with me. I haven't had as much time to stream as I would have liked. I think that's gonna change soonish, hopefully. Fingers crossed. You said with total confidence. Yeah, so we should be streaming more, so we should be able to do more portfolio reviews. Yeah, no problem, Mika. Yeah, you're like like I said, you still don't have any other pages, but you will have some soon. Cool. And if you want to revise these and like get a second impression from me, please do. I'm around. Yeah, I feel like you're on the path. I feel like sometimes you get a little bit tired or a little bit overwhelmed, and I can sense that because I am in the same boat very, very often. But like when you're on point, you're on point. So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. I think you got this. You got this. I'd hire her. Her information's in the bottom right of the screen. Hire her. What are you doing? Thanks for everybody hanging out and all the new follows. I don't know what else to say. Happy 4th of July if you celebrate that. Obviously Mika doesn't because she is in Sao Paulo, Brazil. But yeah, if you're American, happy 4th. Good to watch reviews even if it isn't your own. Yeah. I got a stack of reviews on YouTube. So if you are checking this out and you're like, I want to see what other kind of reviews I've got. And we deep dive through this stuff. Like we've been talking now for about an hour and a half. So yeah, I don't mess around with this stuff. We try to get to the bottom of it. Try to help you. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today. And all the different streams that I did. Thanks for hanging out in the chat right now. And thank you for the new follows. And thank you for just being you. Everybody out there, keep making comics. I'll see you in the next one.